Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We've got a decently sized haul this week, so let's get started. Kicking things off, we've got Marauders number 4. Where we left off, the Marauders, as well as Empress Zandra, went to investigate the truth of the first blood spilled, and when they arrived at the Shi'ar prison complex, Empress Zandra was assassinated. We pick up on Chandalar. The Crimson Kin is going after Deathbird, who is obviously looking for her missing niece. So the Marauders are dealing with the King Crimson. Kate gets killed, and thanks to Sandra Nova, the team manages to get in, and then they find the Chronicle, which is a living person. A Shi'ar warrior. He recounts the tale of Threshold. Apparently, in the early days of the Shi'ar expansion, they discovered this world was a thriving world of mutants. And when the Shi'ar arrived in search of plunder and riches, the mutants of the Threshold turned them away, and so the Shi'ar returned with an army. And we're once again defeated. There's a write-up on the first blood spilled. It goes on to say that after mutant kind was wiped out, after they seemingly wiped out mutant kind on Threshold, the Shi'ar kept an eye on mutant kind as a whole, watching the rise of Okara, the Battle of Ament, the split between Okara and the splitting of Okara into Arakko and Krakoa. Apparently, even Eric the Red's attacks were assessments and little more. But the idea is that Bishop suggests that the Marauders, via Tempo, travel back in time and save the mutants of Threshold. She objects because of her own personal relationship with time, being a chronokinetic, yeah. But she's talked into it, and the Marauders end up at the fall of Avalon, with Cassandra Nova promptly being attacked by Nemesis during his rampage through Avalon shortly after the end of the Age of Apocalypse. And that is where the issue ends. So, things are definitely interesting. I like the whole explanation of Tempo's relationship with time. It does make for an interesting thing to think about. The way it basically works is that time's like a river. If you disrupt the flow somehow, the flow will continue around that disruption and eventually right itself completely. So if you go back in time and you change something, upon returning, you'll just be the you from the. Basically, everything about you will reset to how events changed you in that time, the changed timeline. Not remembering what you did. And she explains she's seen mutants that people think of as nobodies become heroes, but no one knows about it because it happened in the past. And but she remembers all these things. She actually remembers because of how her powers work in relation to time. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got New Mutants number 27. Where we left off, Magic, Wolfsbane, Madeline Pryor, and Mirage were stuck in limbo after Magic's soul sword had shattered. We begin with a flashback to Illyana's younger days in limbo, writing a story, which she then relates to the apparent corpse of her brother. But we see Magic's compatriots being captured by Sim's forces, while Magic wakes up in a mushroom grove with her younger self. And her younger self offers to summon a savior. That savior being none other than, of course, Colossus. So Colossus, Magic, and Illyana arrive at Belasco's court, where it's very Alice in Wonderland-ish. Madeline, Mirage, and Wolfsbane are tied to stakes on the chessboard. Magic frees everyone while Colossus goes after Belasco. And, however, Magic then attacks Belasco and ends up managing to create a new soul sword. Everyone seemingly goes back, and apparently before they part ways, younger Illyana explains to Magic that she knew exactly who Magic was, and gives her something she tried to make way back during the Magic Storm and Illyana series. But Illyana then records what happened, and it's explained that the reason why Magic didn't remember any of this is that everyone who was involved, their memories faded. But after she writes down the story and tells the corpse of Colossus, she then blows some dust on the corpse, and it disappears completely. And that is where the issue ends. Very interesting. The Alice in Wonderland imagery is a nice touch. I'm curious to see how the whole thing plays out. There was a write-up also with Mirage explaining to Madeline Pryor why she's not entirely in favor of Magic turning over Limbo to Maddie. Anyway, moving on to our next book, though, we've got Wolverine number 23. Where we left off, Deadpool and Wolverine, our best healing bros, had arrived at where Danger was holding up. Xavier School. They fight off the pair fight off a Sentinel while Logan ruminates about living in the past and whatnot. Adding that there's the saying, you can't go home again. But maybe there's an exception. If your aim is to tear the place down. But Deadpool once again tries to make asked to be allowed onto X-Force, though he does admit, or he explains why. That he wanted to, he saw when they were in Vegas, when Wolverine and Deadpool were in Vegas, he claims he saw greatness in Wolverine. He thought that maybe that greatness might rub off. Deadpool thought maybe that greatness might rub off on him if he was on X-Force. But he also has another favor to ask of Wolverine. It's funny that apparently Blind Al has a terminal lung disease. Basically, you know, when they get out of once they've gotten out of the whole thing with Danger, for Blind Al to get tip top get the Krakoan meds. As Logan and Wade explore the remains of the mansion, they're attacked by androids of the various X-Men. Wolverine offers up the helmet that apparently has Danger's daughter. There's a write-up about the Seedry infestation back during which was established during giant-sized X-Men Nightcrawler. Danger and her daughter are reunited, and Deadpool and Wolverine ended up in the actual Danger room, where they get splattered, and with the mixture of their bloody remains, the two of them heal together. However, they are soon able to separate. Later on, Krakoa, Blind Al has gotten Krakoan treatment, and Wade goes to see about a job. He's apparently been brought into X-Force. And that is where the issue ends. With a side note warning that Deadpool will return in X-Force number 30. First off, I just want to say I really love the cover of this issue. It's a nice homage to Wolverine 88, which was, I think, the first time we ever saw Deadpool and Wolverine duke it out. Overall, interesting story. I'm glad that finally someone is addressing Danger in the Krakoan age. It's interesting. We had two books recently that both addressed her from different perspectives. As in the Sabretooth miniseries, Madison Jeffries, his crime was trying to make a biome for Danger on Krakoa, as he loves Danger. And then, of course, Wolverine, we had that Danger actually being a major story point. Moving on to our next book, though, we've got the X-Men Hellfire Gala 2022. So in last year's Hellfire Gala, which spread through all of the X books for the month of June, the X-Men terraformed Mars and redubbed it Planet Arakko. What's in store for this month? Well, for this year? Well, we shall see. So, we start with Jean and Cyclops talking about the founding of the X-Men, and then cut to them talking about the founding of the the forming of the new X-Men, the current X-Men. And then we cut to them discussing the ramifications of Cyclops telling Ben Urich about resurrection protocols. On Krakoa, we get a training session between some of the younger mutants, split up into two teams. We got one that's impersonating the Avengers, and another that supposed to be a part of Bishop's War College drills. But before everything's over with, Xavier summons Bishop to the council chambers about a serious situation. Ben Urich's article. Emma is not too happy about it either. There's also a memo from Dr. Stasis to all Petals of Orcus. also the various we see various other reactions of the superhero community to the news of mutant resurrection. Clea believes that perhaps that's how Doctor Strange could be brought back. Um, then some discussion between Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman. Tony Stark sees it and decides to uncancel his RSVP to the Hellfire Gala and to dust off his tux armor. Apparently, the news of Mutant Resurrection is what gets Captain America to decide to go to the Hellfire Gala. Meanwhile, Dr. Stasis, Fei Long are discussing the fact that the X-Men went public about it, rather than it being used as rather than it being revealed. Instead, it's being revealed by someone else as told by one of the members of the X-Men. They also are cautious about their new ally, Moira. And apparently a choker that Mary Jane Watson is sporting allows Moira to control Mary Jane's body. At the council chambers, Bishop insists that the Hellfire Gala be cancelled, but both Emma and Sebastian are in agreement that they can't. Xavier points out the truth was about Mutant Resurrection was always going to come out. Xavier just wishes they'd return more mutants before but he insists that the five be confined to the island. Now that mankind knows that mutant kind is done, but not how, they need to make sure that the five are benched until further notice. With Magic being their babysitter. In the Healing Gardens, Dr. Cecilia Reyes is fixing up Claude Herman after his attempt at impersonating Captain America during the training session. When Synch arrives, apparently he's looking significantly older. It's explained that while his powers have grown since his resurrection, while it's no problem for him to sync himself up with the powers of those around him, apparently syncing himself up with basically re-syncing himself to powers he's used previously seemingly ages him. There's excerpts from a Daily Bugle interview with Jimbo Carnation by Janet Van Dyne. Cyclops is tries to talk to Emma about something that's happened, the revelation of Dr. Stasis' identity. Clea shows up to demand the resurrection of Doctor Strange, but Emma explains it. Kind of points out Steven's the one who's dead. Clea, she's still alive. Spider-Man has a brief interaction with Mary Jane, which causes his spider sense to go off. And then he bumps into Doctor Doom and asks which mutant Doom is most looking forward to getting resurrected, with Spidey then suggesting Jimi Hendrix or Bowie. After Spider-Man leaves, Doom actually asks himself if Bowie could Bowie have been a mutant. Um, Emma Frost tries to mend fences with Firestar, and also talks briefly about Captain America. And Cap actually gives some advice based in part on his first dealing with Rogue. Um, Cyclops and Forge have a brief moment. Though Forge isn't happy with Scott. Magic brings the Five to the party. And Mary Jane Watson gets Proteus's attention while also tapping on her glass, which catches the attention of Cypher. MJ and Proteus go out onto a balcony, and MJ reveals she's actually, that MJ's under control of Moira McTaggart. Others arrive, including Fei Long and Tony Stark. Tony asks if Reed knew about the resurrection protocols. Reed didn't. And Tony suggests that, asks if he's sure that, none of the mutants have a whammy on making him forget anything. Reed is not sure about that. With Reed explaining to Tony that, they removed the knowledge of how to mask the X gene from him. There's a rather spirited exchange between Emma and Fei Long, which then continued after Emma leaves, between Fei Long and Stark, though Fei Long points out that refers to mutants as the mutant problem, to which Tony rightly points out that calling it throwing around the words mutant problem implies a solution. Cypher approaches Spider-Man and explains that MJ was tapping out SOS on her glass. He sees her outside talking with Proteus. It turns out that Moira is explaining to Proteus that he was really just his birth. It was just to have a reality warping mutant. That was all. She had no desire for an actual child, so. When the Spidey arrives, he goes after he realizes the necklace on that MJ's wearing is trouble, but he gets shot trying to pull it off of her. Um, Wolverine realizes that it's Moira. MJ manages to brace me just briefly to explain that Moira won't hesitate to kill her. Um, with Wolverine telepathically signaling to Marvel Girl to get in touch with Grey Crow and track MJ and the tech around her neck. Wolverine stops Spidey from continuing to start things up, but Wolverine explains that if they do, it's going to be on a Berlin situation. And apparently they will be working together to save Moira in Amazing Spider-Man #9. Apparently, also, Emma has decided that next year's gala will be the responsibility of the Cuckoos. But Cyclops has Jean convince or implant the image of all about masked Cyclops as John Hamm so that Scott can ask for a dance, and he can explain some things. But he goes on to add that he really needs her to look into his mind and see what's happened. And she sees the revelation of Dr. Stasis' true identity, just as Sinister himself arrives at the party. And Emma then shares the truth about Moira with Scott. We then get the X-Men election. Though Dr. Stasis has his own plans. The results are given by Wanda with the lineup ending up being Marvel Girl, Cyclops, and Sync staying on the team, and being joined by Havoc, Magic, Forge, Firestar, and Iceman. Though, while Tony Stark congratulates Firestar, he tells her that this is an opportunity. If she sees something that the Avengers should know about, she's got his number. Emma explains to Bishop what's happened with Moira, and Moira, meanwhile, is meeting with two of the Eternals to apparently give them a list of 5 deviants that are excessive, as the Eternals' whole shtick is ending mass deviation, and that is where the issue ends. So it's not as groundbreaking, not as ground-shaking as, terraforming a lifeless planet, but how do you top that, right? It was good. I'm happy to see Havoc and Firestar both on the X-Men, though I'm a little bummed that apparently they seem to already be setting up the idea that Firestar is going to be spying on the X-Men for the Avengers, Um, I I was hoping maybe I'm honest. I'm hoping that she'll basically just maybe initially, some light intelligence, and then maybe something big happens, and maybe Iron Man says, "Why didn't you tell us about this?" And Firestorm says, because I'm not a spy. I'm not you know you know basically showing that she's not she's earned her place on the X-Men, so to speak. But yeah, I don't know. It's just it's annoying. Moving on to our next book, we've got Immortal X-Men #4. So Immortal X-Men number 4 takes place before, during, and shortly after the Hellfire Gala. Our focal member of the council is Emma. Turns out she's been sleeping in diamond form, because that way, basically to stave off the effects of aging. Early on at the gala, someone tossed a bucket of blood on her because of the revelation. Ambassador Mingyu suggests that don't if Krakoan revival is a limited resource, maybe don't share with all of humanity, just important people, world leaders, world leaders and the like. Give access to leaders, key donors, industry figures. Once they've got it, they can ensure the majority accept it. Now, I thought about that with the rampant prejudice towards mutant kind in the Marvel universe. I could easily imagine that a resurrected leader would be thought of as now being a puppet of mutant kind. But a woman whose husband had died in a boating accident the previous week tossed a bucket of sheep's blood on Emma. After the gala, the proposal that was mentioned by the ambassador to Emma is brought up, with Sinister saying, that if world leaders are interested in letting him clone them and giving him an opportunity to meddle with their genes, they should embrace it. After all, who wouldn't want a kill switch for all the world leaders? Mystique is apparently against it, which Sinister assumes is because then she'd be out of a job. Apparently, a man injected himself with mutant growth hormone and then killed himself in the hopes that he would be considered a mutant by doing so, that he'd come back. However, Emma brings some new business to the table. The memories that she got, that Cyclops had her read. Sinister he doesn't even know, he has no idea what to make of it. He escapes using a smoke bomb that's basically Nightcrawler's teleportation ability as a smoke bomb. And apparently the smell is even worse. He then, in his attempt to escape, he then takes what I can only assume are pills that basically imitate Madrox's powers. As he gets to the gate to bar Sinister, Destiny tells him not to be a coward. Goes in and has his most recent memories uploaded, and is about to kill the current Moira, but his current Moira clone, which the memories have been uploaded to her as well. It is assumed that it kind of feels like he has already done this a few times. But Destiny's words stick with him, and he manages to basically pull himself together, return to the island. They're trying to while the council is trying to decide what to do, he's teleported away. With Destiny explaining that Sinister had been kidnapped. And the issue ends with her once again laying in bed in diamond form. And that is how things end. That then brings us to our final book for the moment. Avengers XMen Eternals, Eve of Judgement. Setting up the upcoming crossover between the three titles. So the book is largely narrated by the machine that is Earth. It seems to be a good day. People are, apparently Iron Man tried to make waffles. They're not great. The X-Men appear to be having a relaxing day. This might actually be set before the recent death of Gambit, because Gambit's in one of the pictures. And Druig, who is currently Eternal Prime, or Prime Eternal, has decided he wants to wipe out mutant kind. Because, well, the fact that they can now circumvent death, well, that's definitely excessive deviation. And so, an antimatter bomb. Then we have Lemuria, home of the city made of deviants, which Icarus and Circe are currently inhabiting. Apparently, Icarus is dealing with the recent revelation that every time an Eternal dies, in order for them to be resurrected, the machine that is Earth kills a human. But among those who also were not happy about this revelation was Phastos, though it would appear that Makari and Ajax wished to speak with him. But the idea apparently they used to try and make a god. And the issue ends with the revelation it was Ajax and Makari who kidnapped Sinister. The Eternals who are not happy with the recent revelation are apparently living with the deviants, and Phastos has joined them on the antimatter bomb that has been made is complete and is then delivered for Krakoa. But, however, Krakoa being Krakoa, it apparently causes problems with the machine that is Earth, which causes problems with the Eternals. So Druig decides if he's going to commit a genocide, he needs to talk to an expert on the matter. Uranos, his grandfather. And that is where the issue ends. So for, it looks like the end of August, or throughout August and September and October, at the very least, we'll be seeing all the X-Men books as part of the Judgment Day crossover, as well as, it looks like, an issue of Avengers. So, but that is going. interesting start to the story. If I remember correct, Uranus is also, I want to say, Thanos' grandfather. He's a bit more adept at genocides than his grandson. But that is going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.